this is a good question. How long do you think it takes to get out of porn addiction and how to get out of it? If you can, you want to go cold turkey, like off the bat, completely cut that shit out. However, that is hard for a lot of people to do in regard to any addiction, really. Like trying to quit smoking, trying to quit alcohol, whatever, like going cold turkey can be hard for a lot of people. I would suggest something that I call a dopamine detox, because the reason you pursue porn, you have a porn addiction, is you're trying to give your brain the dopamine it wants. But you've been doing this for so long, the dopamine receptors in your brain have become desensitized. You need more stimulus to create the same effect. Before, like one porno would produce this much dopamine. Now you need to watch like 10 different pornos to produce the same amount of dopamine, if that makes sense. To get over this kind of dopamine dependence you've created for yourself, well, one of the ways that works is to go on a dopamine detox in that regard, trying to cut out all of the things in your life that provide immediate gratification, or at least dial all of them down across the board, rather than just honing in specifically on the one thing, which is the porn you have a problem with. So that would mean cutting down on social media, cutting down on things like TikTok, endless scrolling, right? Cutting down on sugary foods, cutting down on alcohol. All of these things have like an immediate dopamine boosting response in your brain. But if you take all of those things and the porn, right? If you just dial them all back, let's say 10%, what you might find is that your overall discipline in regards to, needing to incessantly masturbate to porn becomes a little bit stronger. And then the next week you might dial it back by another 10% or 20%, and then so on and so forth. And what you're trying to do is actually just give your dopamine receptors a break, like give them a breather, like give them some time off so they can recover and recuperate. Then you're not going to need as much stimulus to produce the same result. And then eventually you can get back to this point where you can completely cut out porn altogether. Another way of doing that with porn is, instead of jerking off to like 10 different tabs and watching a million things, just say to yourself, again, this is for guys who are like stuck and are struggling to get over this problem. Make a deal with yourself and say, I'm only going to watch one video and I'm going to jerk off to that one video. So see what we're doing here. So you've taken the necessary stimulus from like say 10, 20, 30, a billion different tabs, billion different search things, whatever. And you're narrowing it down to like one thing. Like, you know what? I'm going to make a promise to myself right here and now. I'm only going to jerk off. I'm not cutting this out entirely, but I'm going to jerk off to like one thing. Okay, cool. You do that for like a week. And then you dial it back even further. You dial it back to like one picture, one image. And you do that for a week. And then you dial it back even further. You dial it back to say like an erotic short story. And what you're doing there is you're progressively sensitizing yourself. You're making your brain able to receive the same amount of response from a lesser stimulus as you progressively train yourself this way. So I just gave you a very, very thorough antidote to your problem, my friend.